Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are making my sugar fairy crochet top. I am making a size medium, but I will show you how to alter the pattern to fit any size that you desire as long as you are willing to measure yourself. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions, and I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Grab your crochet hook and your yarn, make a slip knot. We are going to chain a total of 31 chains. This is roughly around 7.5 inches and it is the length to cover my breast. If you are following your own measurements, this chain needs to be long enough to cover your breast from top to bottom. I finished working my 31 chains and now I'm going to flip my chains over to the back side because we are working inside the back bumps. We are skipping the first stitch and placing a half double crochet into the second stitch. Yarn over and insert your hook into that second chain from the hook. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You will have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that is how you half double crochet. I will have a tutorial linked at the bottom in the description on how to crochet the main stitches if you need it. Continue working half double crochets for the rest of this row. You should have a total of 30 stitches. I will meet you back when I'm finished with my row. I have finished working all of my half double crochets, 30 stitches. Now I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. We're chaining 1 between all of our rows and turn your work. For row number 2, we're repeating the last row. We are placing half double crochets inside every single stitch and chaining 1 at the end. When you are finished, you should have a total of 30 stitches if you are following my measurements. I have made it to my very last stitch and now I'm going to chain 1. Now if you notice, your projects will have these little waves in them. I just pull on it, tug on it a little bit, and that normally fixes the problem. You're going to continue working rows of half double crochet until you have a total of 24 rows. This is roughly around 7.5 inches, and this is the width of one of my breasts. Now you are making 2 of these panels, 1 for each breast, so when you're finished with your first one, make another one. If you are following your own measurements, you're going to continue to work rows of half double crochet. Make sure you are chaining 1 in between each row until your panel is wide enough to cover one of your breasts. Remember, you are making 2 of these panels. This row will be timestamped at the bottom if you need to rewatch it. I have finished all of my rows and both of my panels are complete. Before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and grab my needle so I can weave in these strings so I don't have to worry about them later. You can weave your strings in however you like. I personally like to hide the needle in between the stitches until the string is no longer visible. I'm going to do this for the rest of my strings and I will come back when I am finished. I have finished weaving in all my ends for both of my little panels, and this is what it looks like so far. You want both of your panels faced this way, that way the rows are going up and down. As you see, the rows, which are the lines, they are going up and down. So this is the incorrect way to the right, and this is the correct way to the left. Once you have both of your panels facing the correct way, we are going to fold them from top to bottom. So fold it from the top, bring it down to the bottom, same on the other side. Fold it from top to bottom. Turn your work, that way the parts that open are facing each other. Stand both of your pieces up, open both of them, and put them inside one another just like this. You will have to adjust them. You want to make sure that the ends are all the way to the corner. So this one's all the way to that corner, and this end is all the way to that corner. And you want to make sure it's the same way on the other side. If not, go ahead and adjust it. Grab your needle. Go ahead and cut yourself a reasonable length of yarn. That way we can sew these pieces together. Make sure you have a strong grip on your panels to hold everything in place. We are going to start on this side. We're going to be sticking our needle in here and pulling it out this way. When you stick your needle in, make sure you're going through every single layer. Stick your needle in, first layer, second layer, third layer, and fourth. My needle is inside every single layer, and now I'm going to go ahead and pull the string through. Make sure you leave a tail at the end. Before we go any further, I'm going to lay my needle down. I'm going to take both ends, the tail and the yarn that's still attached to the needle, and I'm going to tie it a couple of times just to make sure that my yarn doesn't go anywhere. You could tie it as many times as you like. If anything moved out of place, just readjust it. I'm going to continue sewing my project clothes, sticking my needle in and out. You can sew your project clothes however you like. Just make sure your needle is going through every single layer. I'm going to continue to do this all the way till I get to the end. I have reached the end. I'm going to stick my needle right here at the end. I'm going to pull it through. I'm not pulling the string through completely. You want to make sure you have a little loop right here. I'm going to go ahead and take my needle off of the yarn, take the yarn out of it, and now I'm going to take both ends, this loop right here and this yarn that I just took my needle off, and then I'm going to tie them together, forming a knot. That way my yarn doesn't come undone. I'm going to tie it a couple of times. You can tie it as many times as you like. Now I'm going to cut both of these ends with my scissors. On the side that we did not sew closed, we're going to grab both ends and pull them apart like this. And you have just created your twist. And now I'm going to adjust the shirt. I do like to pull on it from the center and stretch it out a little bit. Again, there is no perfect way to do this. I'm going to keep on playing around with it and just adjusting it until I feel like I'm satisfied with it. From this point on, we are going to work double crochets all the way down. Grab your crochet hook and make a slip knot. We need to reattach our yarn to work our double crochets. Before inserting my hook, I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook because we're working double crochets. I'm going to put my finger on top of the yarn to hold it in place. We are going to insert our hook somewhere in the upper right hand corner. This does not have to be perfect. You just want to make sure that it's at the very top. I'm going to place mine right here. Make sure you're starting somewhere in the upper right hand corner. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And that is how you double crochet. We are going to continue working double crochets. As you can see, there is a visible hole right here. So I'm just going to stick my hook in there and place a double crochet. And that is all we're doing for the rest of this row. We are sticking double crochets at the top inside any visible hole that we see, all the way down until you reach the middle of the top where your twist is at, and I'll meet you back at that part. Once again, this does not have to be perfect. It's not going to affect your project. I stopped in the center right here, going into the second panel. The left side is going to be considered my second panel, even though they are connected. There is not a specific stitch count. You just want to make sure you stop somewhere in the middle. We are going to start working double crochets in the next panel, but we're not going to start right here. We're going to start all the way over here. You want to place your double crochets somewhere in the beginning of the second panel. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just somewhere in the beginning. There is a visible hole right here for me, so I'm going to go ahead and place my double crochet. Continue placing double crochets at the top all the way down until you reach the end. Again, there is no perfect way to place your double crochets. You just want to make sure that you're placing them at the top. I'll meet you back when I make it to the end. I finished working my double crochets. You should notice your top starting to ruffle up, wrinkle up a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. This top is meant to be flowy. If you haven't already, chain 1. Grab 4 stitch markers. We are going to mark our wing placements. Just a heads up, if you choose to mark your stitches differently than mine, that's fine, because I know some people are going to have different sizes and they're going to want their wings in different places. Remember, you have 2 panels. This one is the first one. This one is the second one. Both of the panels are separated by this hole, this gap in the middle, and that's how you know the difference between the two. I zoomed in, and right here is our gap. So this first stitch to the right of the gap, we are going to count to 10. And mark the 10th stitch with a stitch marker. I'm going to do the same thing for the second panel. Starting with the first stitch to the left of the gap, I'm going to count to 10 and mark that 10th stitch. Starting from the stitch we just marked, I'm going to count to 15 and mark that 15th stitch. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, starting with that inner stitch marker right here. I'm going to count to 15 from that stitch and mark the 15th stitch. As I did say before, if you want to move your stitch markers around, you can. Just make sure they're even on both sides. This is going to be your inner wings and this is going to be your outer wings. Also, something to keep in mind, it's not going to look completely even because one side overlaps the other because of that twist we did in the center. If you haven't already, make sure you chain 1 and then turn your work. For row number 2, we are creating our wings. We are skipping the first 2 stitches and then we're placing double crochets all the way down until we reach that first stitch marker, which is where we're going to place our first wing. Let's work our double crochets. Remember, we are skipping the first 2 stitches. Skip the first stitch, skip the second stitch, and place your double crochet inside your third stitch. It's going to look like this. Continue working double crochets all the way down until you reach that first stitch marker. I've made it to the stitch marker. We're going to work our first wing. Inside the stitch with the stitch marker, we are going to place 1 double crochet, chain 8, 1 double crochet, all inside this 1 stitch. 1 double crochet, chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to look like this so far. Inside that same stitch, I'm going to place 1 double crochet. And you have just created your first wing. Your project should be waving up more. And now we're going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we reach that second stitch marker. I'll meet you back when I make it there. I have made it to my second stitch marker. We are repeating what we did inside our last wing for this wing. So we are placing 1 double crochet, chain 8, and 1 more double crochet inside that very same stitch. You've just completed your second wing. And now you're going to continue working double crochets all the way down until you reach your third stitch marker. I have reached my third stitch marker. We are going to repeat what we did in the last 2 wings. You are going to place 1 double crochet, chain 8, 1 double crochet all inside this one stitch. And you have just completed your third wing. You guys should be able to work the rest by yourself. You're going to work double crochets all the way down till you reach your last wing. You are going to place 1 double crochet, chain 8, 1 double crochet all inside that last wing, that last stitch marker. And then you're going to work double crochets all the way down until you have 2 stitches left. And I will meet you back when I have 2 stitches left. I finished my row. I worked my wing and my double crochets all the way down. And as you see, I have 2 stitches left. These 2 stitches right here, we are going to be skipping these last 2 stitches. So chain 1 and turn your work. Your project should look like this so far. Row number 3, we are skipping the first 2 stitches and placing 1 double crochet inside that third stitch. We're going to continue working double crochets until we reach that first wing, and I'll meet you back when I make it there. I worked all my double crochets and I made it to my first wing. You'll know you reached your first wing because you'll reach the chains from the previous row. This loop right here. The 2 outer wings are going to be worked differently than the 2 inner wings. You have to know the difference between your outer wings and your inner wings. Remember, the outer wings are on the outside and the inner wings are on the inside. You have to be able to identify them. So this very first wing right here is an outer wing. We are going to be placing 4 double crochet, chain 8, 4 double crochet in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, and now we're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chains. And back into the center, we are placing 4 more double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is how we will be working our outer wings for round number 3. It should look like this. And now we're going to double crochet all the way down until we reach our second wing. I have reached my second wing, which is an inner wing. Inside the second wing, we are placing 8 half double crochets. Not double crochets, but half double crochets. 8 half double crochets in the center. Now when you work these half double crochets, work them around the chain. Don't just work them in one spot on one side. You want it to go around the chain, and I'm going to show you right now. 8 half double crochets. Get your stitch marker and mark your 8th stitch. This is going to help you with your next row. We're only doing this for the inner wings. And now we're going back to working double crochets. You are going to work double crochets all the way down until you reach your 3rd wing, and that 3rd wing is also an inner wing, so you're going to repeat what we just did in this wing. I will meet you back when I make it to the 3rd wing. I have made it to my 3rd wing, so we are going to be placing 8 half double crochets inside the ring. Remember to work it around the chains, all the way around until you reach the other side of the chain. Don't forget to mark your 8th stitch. Eight half double crochets. And now I'm going to mark the 8th stitch. Continue working double crochets until you reach your last wing, which is an outer wing. I'll meet you back when I make it there. I have made it to my very last wing, and since this is an outer wing, we will be placing 4 double crochet, chain 8, 4 double crochet, all in the center. My 4 double crochets, and now I'm going to chain 8. My 8 chains, and now I'm going to work 4 more double crochets inside the center of that wing. And then you're going to work double crochets all the way down until you have 2 stitches left. We are going to be skipping these last 2 stitches, and I will meet you back when I have 2 stitches left. I made it to my last 2 stitches. It's going to look like this. So go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. Your project should look similar to this so far. We have made it to row number 4, and just like the last row, the outer wings are going to be worked differently than the inner wings. These 2 stitches should be marked from your previous row. This is going to come in handy for this row. As usual, skip the first 2 stitches and place your double crochet inside the 3rd stitch. We are going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we reach our first wing, which is an outer wing, and I'll meet you back when I make it to that first wing. I have just reached my first wing. Inside this wing, we're placing 4 double crochet, chain 8, 4 double crochet. We are working double crochets all the way down until we reach that stitch marker. I will meet you back when I make it to the stitch marker. Starting from that marked stitch, we are placing 1 half double crochet inside the next 4 stitches. And now we're going to chain 8. And inside that same stitch, we are going to place another half double crochet. Now inside the next 4 stitches, we are placing 1 half double crochet. It's going to look like this. You don't need to mark any stitches this time around. And now we're going to go back to working double crochets. Work double crochets all the way down until you reach your next wing. I made it to my next wing, which is also another inner wing, so we're going to repeat what we did in our last wing. So we are going to be placing 1 half double crochet inside the next 4 stitches, starting with that stitch that's marked. 4 half double crochets, and now we're going to chain 8. 8 chains, and back inside that same stitch we are going to place 1 half double crochet. Now inside the next 4 stitches we are placing 1 half double crochet. Four half double crochets, 8 chains, 4 half double crochets. We are switching back to double crochets. We're no longer working half double crochets. So we are going to double crochet all the way down until we reach our very last wing, and I'll meet you back when I make it to that wing. In that last wing, we are placing 4 double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets. Four double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets, all in the center. We are going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we have 2 stitches left. Don't forget, we are skipping those last 2 stitches, and I will meet you back when I am finished. I made it to the end. I have 2 stitches left that I'm not working in because we are skipping those. Make sure to chain 1. So from this point on, we are going to continue repeating rows 3 and 4 all the way until you have a total of 8 rows. If you are following your own measurements, you are going to continue to repeat rows 3 and 4 until you have the length that you desire. Rows 3 and 4 is going to be time-stamped at the bottom. I'm going to work the next 2 rows with you for the people that need it. If you don't need it, just go to the bottom and click on back wings so you can get started on your back wings. For row number 5, we are going to repeat row number 3. Skip the first 2 stitches and place your double crochet inside the 3rd stitch. We are going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we reach our first wing, which is an outer wing, and I will meet you back when I make it to my first wing. Inside this first wing, we are placing 4 double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets. Four double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets. Double crochet all the way down until you reach your second wing, which is an inner wing, and I will meet you back when I make it to that second wing. Inside the second wing, we are placing 8 half double crochets, and we are marking our 8th stitch. We're back to working double crochets. We're going to double crochet all the way down until we reach our third wing, which is an inner wing. So we're going to repeat what we just did by placing 8 half double crochets and marking the 8th stitch. So I'm going to meet you guys back after I worked all of my double crochets and then I placed my 8 half double crochets and marked my 8th stitch. I will meet you back when I'm finished with that. So I worked my double crochets all the way down. I made it to my third wing. I placed my 8 half double crochets and I also marked the 8th stitch. Now we're switching back to double crochets. We're going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we reach that very last wing, and I will meet you back when I make it to that wing. I have made it to my very last wing, and inside this wing we are placing 4 double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets, all inside this very last wing. And then we're going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we have 2 stitches left. We are skipping those last 2 stitches and then we are chaining 1. I will meet you back when I finish working my wing and make it down to my last 2 stitches. I have made it down to my last 2 stitches and now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Row number 6, we are repeating row number 4. You are going to skip the first 2 stitches and place your double crochet inside the 3rd stitch. You are going to continue to work double crochets all the way down until you reach your first wing, and I will meet you back when I make it to that wing. I finished working my double crochets and made it to my first wing. We are placing 4 double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets, all inside this first wing. I have worked my 4 double crochets, my chain 8, and my 4 double crochets. And now we're going to work double crochets all the way down until we reach that next wing, and I will meet you back when I make it to that next wing. I have made it to my next wing. Starting with the marked stitch, we are placing 1 half double crochet inside the next 4 stitches. Chain 8, we are placing a half double crochet back inside that stitch, and then we are working 1 half double crochet inside the next 4 stitches. We are no longer working half double crochets, we're switching back to double crochets. We're going to work double crochets all the way down until we reach our next wing, and I will meet you back when I make it to my wing. Starting with the marked stitch, we are placing 1 half double crochet inside the next 4 stitches. Chain 8, we are placing a half double crochet back inside that stitch, and then we are working 1 half double crochet inside the next 4 stitches. We are going to double crochet all the way down until we reach our very last wing. In that last wing, we are placing 4 double crochets, chain 8, 4 double crochets, and I will meet you back after I worked all of my double crochets and then I place my 4 double crochets, chain 8 for a double crochet inside that last wing. I will meet you back when I'm finished with that. I've worked all of my double crochets and I finished my last wing. All that's left to do is to double crochet all the way down until you have 2 stitches left. I will come back to show you what the project looked like so far when I am done. I have made it to my last 2 stitches. I'm going to skip them and chain 1. This is what it looks like when row 6 is complete. Your project should be ruffling up, should have some form of waves to it. This is what the wings look like. The outer wings are going to be longer than the inner wings. Repeat rows 3 and 4 until you reach row number 8. 3 and 4 are going to be time stamped at the bottom. If you are following your own measurements, continue to repeat the rows until you have the length that you desire. I will meet you back when I'm finished with all 8 of my rows. All 8 of my rows are complete. Here's the full project. We're going to go ahead and chain 1 and cut the end of our yarn. I already chained 1, so all I need to do is cut the end. Now it's time to work on our back wings. We are going to be starting on the right side, this side, so go ahead and turn your project to the side just like this. So inside this first row, this row right here of double crochets, if you turn it this way you could see it better. This was the first row we did for our front wings. At the very top, if you turn it to the side, right here is the top. So at the top of that, we're going to place 2 half double crochets. You can also tug on it to reveal a hole. So inside that hole, I am placing 2 half double crochets. It's going to look like this. Now I'm going to place 1 half double crochet inside the next 10 stitches. And now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Continue working rows of half double crochet until you reach row number 11. This is roughly around 3.5 to 4 inches, and this determines how wide back wing is going to be. If you are following your own measurements, you're going to continue working rows of half double crochet until you have the width that you desire. Remember, the amount of rows you do determine how wide your back wing is going to be, and it determines how much is going to get covered. So if you want more coverage, work more rows. Alright, I have worked my 11 rows, and now we're going to work one more row, but for this last row, we are working our holes for our strap. So we're going to place 1 half double crochet inside the first stitch, and then we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip that second stitch, and then we're going to place our hook inside that third stitch, and we're going to continue working half double crochets all the way down until we have 2 stitches left. As you see, skipping that stitch and chaining 1 created a hole, and now I'm going to continue working my half double crochets until I have 2 stitches left. So I have 2 stitches left. Now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to place my half double crochet inside that last stitch because we are skipping that second to last stitch. You have created a hole at the top and a hole at the bottom, and this is where your straps are going to go. Now it's time to work on our wing, so we're going to go ahead and turn our project. That way the front wings, these are the wings that we worked in the front, these should be at the top. So now, just like we did in the front, we're going to work double crochets all the way across until we get to the end. I'm going to place a double crochet inside this hole. And then like we did before, I'm going to place a double crochet inside every visible hole at the top all the way across until I reach the end. And I will meet you back when I make it to the end. I have made it to the very end. It's going to look like this. Again, the stitch count does not matter. You want it to look somewhat like this. And now we're going to go ahead and get our stitch marker so we can mark where we're going to place our wing. So for the back panel, we are only working one wing. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it in half. And then whatever stitch is right here in the corner, I'm just going to place my stitch marker. And this is where I will be working my wing. Now you don't have to do it like that. You can count it and just figure out where the middle is. So go ahead and chain one and turn your work. For row number 2, for the back wing, we're skipping the first 2 stitches, placing a double crochet inside that third stitch. And then we are going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we reach our stitch marker so we can work our wing. I will meet you back once I make it to the stitch marker. Inside this stitch with the stitch marker, we're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 8, 1 double crochet, all inside this one stitch. One double crochet, chain 8, 1 double crochet, and now we're going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we have 2 stitches left. We are skipping those last 2 stitches. I will meet you back when I make it to the end. I've made it to my last 2 stitches. Because I'm skipping those, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. For row number 3, for our back wings, we are skipping the first 2 stitches, placing a double crochet inside the third stitch. We are continuing to work double crochet all the way down until we reach our wing. I'll meet you back when I make it to the wing. I've reached my wing. Inside this wing, we are placing 4 double crochet, chain 8, 4 double crochet. My 4 double crochet, my chain 8, 4 double crochet, and then we're going to continue working double crochets all the way down until we have 2 stitches left. Remember, we are skipping those last 2 stitches. I will meet you back once I have 2 stitches left. I've made it to my last 2 stitches. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Continue to repeat row number 3 until you have a total of 7 rows. If you are following your own measurements, you are going to continue to repeat row 3 until you have 1 number less than the amount of rows you have in your front wings. For example, I have 8 rows in my front wings, so that means I need to have 7 rows in my back wing, 1 number less than the amount of numbers you have in your front row. I will meet you back when I'm finished with my 7 rows. Chain 1 and cut the end of your yarn when you're finished. Have a long enough tail that you can weave it in the end. And this is what it looks like when all 7 of my rows are complete. So now you're going to flip your work over. You want to turn it that way the wing is at the bottom and this corner right here for your breast is at the top. And then you're going to repeat the whole process over. Everything is going to be time stamped at the bottom so you can rewatch it. It's going to be under back wing. And I will meet you back when I'm finished with my second wing. Both of my wings are complete. Before we get started on the straps, I'm going to go ahead and weave in all of my strings off camera. Now we're going to work on the straps for our top. This is the very last thing. We will be placing our straps in the corners, in both of these corners right here. So I'm going to start on my left side. So go ahead and get your yarn and make a slip knot. Make sure you have a long enough tail so you can weave it in. Right here in this corner right here, I'm just going to stick my hook in there. And I'm going to place a slip stitch. And now I'm going to chain at least 100 or more chains. You want this chain to be long enough where it can go over your shoulders and wrap across your back. I have finished chaining my 100 chains. For those of you who are fine with using the chains as a strap, you could go ahead and cut the end of your yarn and then repeat this process for your other corner. Now for those of you who do not like just using a small chain as your strap, you're going to go ahead and flip your chain over to the back, and we're going to place single crochets inside the back bumps. I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook inside this second bump from the hook, and then I'm just going to work single crochets all the way down. So I'm going to continue working my single crochets all the way down. I will come back when I'm finished to show you what it looks like. I single crocheted inside all my chains. I made it all the way down to the end. I'm back at the corner where we started at. And now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch back into the corner. Chain 1. Get my scissors and cut the end of my yarn. And now you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And now I'll meet you back when I am finished. Both of my straps are complete. And now I'm going to weave in my ends. I'll meet you back when I am done. I finished weaving in my ends. You want your top to be on the wrong side. You should be looking at the wrong side. Take your back wings, which is your ends, and fold them in. Grab your straps. These straps will be adjustable. Grab your crochet hook and make sure that your string is straight and not twisted. Insert your hook at the top in your first hole. Put your strap on your hook and pull it through the hole. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to make sure my strap is not twisted. Then I'm going to insert my hook in this corner where my hole is and pull my strap through. And now I'm going to adjust my straps. You pull on it to make it tighter, and then you pull it out to loosen it. I'm going to make sure they're even on both sides. You can always adjust this later, especially when you put it on. Now I'm going to take the two ends and tie them together. The very last thing we're going to do is make a chain for our bottom holes. Grab your crochet hook in your yarn. I'm going to chain around 100 to 150 chains. You want this chain to be long enough to cross over your back and tie into a bow. If this chain is not long enough for you, chain more chains. When you are finished, chain 1 and cut the end of your yarn. I finished chaining all my chains and I cut the end of the yarn. And now we're going to pull our strings through the bottom holes the same way we did the top. Insert your hook into that bottom hole. Put your chains on your hook and pull it through the hole. And do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to take both ends of my bottom strings and tie them. Again, if the string is not long enough for you, please chain a longer one. This is the finished look. Your sugar fairy top is now complete. Hello friends, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm pretty good at responding to questions. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Like and subscribe to support this channel and tag me in your finished work. I'd love to see it.